Good morning, everyone. I hope you had a nice party yesterday. Can someone it's just to press this?
Left, right.
Yes.
Left, right.
Left, right. Hi, I'm Helen. I'm a Swedish producer for a transmedia project called Granny's Dancing on the Table. Do you know what transmedia is? More or less. I'm not sure that I do, but do you know what cross-media is?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think it could be a little bit messy. So I will start to give you my own explanation of the difference between cross-media and transmedia. For me, cross-media is when you publish your material on a lot of different technical platforms. Transmedia is when you publish your material on a lot of different technical platforms and do it in interaction with the audience. That's my explanation of transmedia. Granny's Dancing on the Table includes a feature film, an iPad game, and what we call the International Granny Day. And I will share a bit of how all this began. I will try to do that quite short, and then I will share our crowdfunding process with you. And you are most welcome to ask me questions and interrupt me. I love that. I used to say that we became transmedia by accident. Our story began in 2007 when I heard a rumor about a young female director who took a private bank loan of 10,000 euro to make her first feature film. That interested me, so the guy who told me, I gave him my business card and said, please ask this girl to call me. A couple of days later, she came to my office, and I looked at her and I asked her, do you have rich parents? Because I wanted to know if this 10,000 euro was a risk for her or not. She absolutely don't have rich parents. She grew up isolated in the Swedish forest until she was 17, when she ran away from home. Today she's 34 years, so half of her life she's been in the society, and half of her life she was living outside the society. At that time, she had shooted thirds of the film. Fourths? A bit of it, don't care. She wasn't ready. She was very, 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 very tired. And we started to talk. I watched the material, I found it interesting, and we decided that I should become her producer. I managed to reach some development money. It wasn't much. I think totally budget for this film was, in the end, 70,000 euro cash. The rest of it was a lot of people who had invested their energy, work, and so on, as it used to be when you have no funded film and you make them ready. When this film was ready, we tried to get it into distributors. We tried to get it into festivals, but we failed. Everyone said no. This film is not the worst, and it's not the best. It's an okay film. And I think it's a film that is worth to have an audience. But we had this problem. We had a feature film and no audience. I've been collaborating with a university in Malmö, where I live, for 10 years with cross-media researchers and students. So we went to them very, very, very sorry and said, we have a problem. We have a film and we have no audience. Can you help us to find some kind of alternative distribution? So they started to make workshops and think of what can we do. And it ended up that we decided to get this film out with what we call a Creative Commons license. Have you heard about that? For those of you, is there someone who haven't heard about it? No? Okay. You haven't. It's an alternative to copyright. The creators still have their rights, but we tell the audience that you are free to download, to share, and to remix our movie. But you can't sell it, because if you want to put money in, you have to talk to us. But it's free for you to use it. So the decision was that we decided to have a small premiere at a local, very alternative culture house in Malmö, and at the front page of the Pirate Bay. Have you heard about downloading? Yes, you have. Okay. It's illegal to download films with copyright. But to download a film with Creative Commons license is legal. So what we did was that we used this platform that mainly is used for illegal downloading for illegal downloading. And then the miracle started. In 2 days, we couldn't count the downloads anymore. Then it was over 50,000. And the Pirate Bay, they have, when they are at the lowest point, 1 million visitors a day. The highest they have had in one day is 90 million visitors. That's a lot of people. So we went to the place where the audience were. After 1 week, we had a mail from Vladivostok. There was a guy, he wanted to screen the movie on a cinema in Vladivostok. And after 2 months, the film has been screened by private initiatives in 50 cities all around the world. It was Peru, it was Korea, it was Germany, Denmark, France, Spain, all over. After 1 week, people started to translate the subtitles. We had English subtitles. Today, we have 18 languages, all done by the audience. Hanna, the director, Hanna Sköld, she had a blog. This blog was visited by people from 113 countries in 2 months who wrote her. She had a PayPal account, and the audience donated 10,000 euro so she could pay back the private bank loan. Then the Swedish television called us and wanted to buy the movie. Then it was screened on cinemas in Sweden. And then the festivals started to call us. So what happened was that this is a very funny story. This is from Ukraine. And we had the real conventional cinema distribution in Ukraine. And I don't know if you understand the language, but they changed the name to Swedish Love. So it was on the biggest cinema in Kiev for 1 week. I couldn't ever have imagined to go for cinema distribution in Ukraine. But it happened because one from the audience took that initiative. So what we did was that we turned the conventional distribution chain upside down. By accident, maybe, or it's just because we are living in this time. I don't know. I have a memory when I and the director were sitting in the kitchen at my production company, just look at each other. What the fuck is going on? What is going on out there? We didn't know that this power of the crowd existed. It was beautiful. And when we made a decision to collaborate with the pirates, we expected, someone told us, you will never get funding again from the system. But the stupid thing was that the result was the opposite. I don't know why. I don't understand the world sometimes. But after that, things started to happen. Just have to, some order. Please ask me questions if you want. This is our timeline. This is how we work. I told you, there is the director and there is the producer, and you could see the results. When we started with this new script, because it started very conventional with a script for a feature film called Granny's Dancing on the Table, we decided that we wanted to use this power of the crowd already from the beginning. We didn't have any money, so we did it very, very, very simple. The story is about a girl who grows up isolated in the woods. In the age of 17, she runs away from home and enters a society she don't have a clue about. But she has a special gift to predict earthquakes. And it's a travel for her to try to find a place for herself in a society and a community where she can feel that she belongs. It's based on the director's own life, of course. But it's a story, it's a fairy tale. So she started on Facebook to ask questions. We had a fan base from the Nasty Old People time, around 1,000 people, that was our followers. So she started to ask them questions. Have you ever felt that you feel outside the society? Have you been into that you don't know about social codes? And people started to answer her. Very, very, very simple. We kept on the collaboration with the researchers on the university, and they put the director together with a game company called Osma Game Design in Malmö, where we live. And they decided to develop a game that should be an expanded version of the story in the film. The girl Amy you could meet her in other circumstances. You could meet her in the past and in the future. You could travel with her. You could be part of the story in the game. That was their vision. With this project, they, not me and the feature film, applied for Power to the Pixel pitch competition. Have you heard about that? London, Power to the Pixel. It's, I don't know if you agree, but it's really a place where people who are interested and work with cross-media and transmedia meet. And once a year they have a pitch competition, and the prize is £6,000. So they applied with a game, and a couple of days later they called us from London and asked us, couldn't you apply with the transmedia project? And we said, transmedia what? Because at that time we didn't know about that. They asked us, couldn't you put the game and the film to one big project and apply with that? We did, we pitched, and we won. So suddenly we had a position. Suddenly we had an international interest from the business. This was very encouraging and a little bit frustrating. So we had to deal with that. Then it was quite easy to get development money. At that time we had money from the Swedish Film Institute. We got media support for development for the film, and we had other money. So we had a bunch of money. We decided to use this money for labs, where we put people together on the countryside for a couple of days, people from game business, people from the university, people from film business, business people. We put them together and let them play. So that's how we started to develop this. We had the first lab in wintertime, and in summertime, when we should have the second one, I had a phone call from media in Brussels. They told us that we should have this media development money, but they also told us that we won a prize, that we had to go to Cannes and collect the prize for European Talent for Best Script. That was very good and very unexpected if you look at our history. So, yeah. That was. Any questions? No? So this project includes the film, and actually it's a Polish cinematographer, because they are the best, aren't they? Yeah. She's been to this school. I think 2 years ago, she was finished. I told you about the story. But the whole project is based on the story in the film. But we have used this sketch. What we realized was that a film is very dominant. Because, I don't know, but I think for a lot of people, to make a feature film is a very big dream. To make success with a feature film is also a very big dream. So it's a very dominant part of the team. So what we have to do to get ourselves a good way to work with people from different businesses, areas, cultures, and so on, we had to get rid of the story and to find a core story. And this core story in the middle, where the users meet Amy's story. And somehow, if you ask me what this project is about, it is about inclusion. Very easy. We don't like a world that is excluding people. We want to have a world that includes people. So that's the main core story. We do this in different ways, and I will not go deeper to this. If someone have questions, please ask me afterwards, because I want to get to the crowdfunding part. I just show you, the last picture, the time I show you was our history. This is our future. This is how we work. We have a very conventional feature film. It's a story that should be done very nice and properly. We have production of an iPad game, and we have International Granny Day. But we also work with a strategy to reach people. So I used to say that this is not only a cultural project, it's a social, cultural, and economical project. And all these three parts should be with us from the beginning. So when we decided to make this crowdfunding project, we wanted to start with crowdsourcing. We wanted people to share their stories, because we think that stories can change the world. If we want to have an including society, we think that stories is a very good way to build that. So we initiated International Granny Day. That granny is actually from Poland, if you want to know. The International Granny Day is a very, very easy concept. We asked grandchildren to invest a short story about their own grandmother. Very easy, a picture and a short story. And if all of you start to think now, you could think of, what should I choose if I pick something out from my granny? What will I invest? Something good, something bad, something that has been very important for me, or something that has been very disgusting? There is always a story, and all of us have grandmothers. So we did that very easy on Facebook, no money included. And we started this in June 2011. We decided that 21st of August should be the International Granny Day. And at that day, we printed all the stories and made a guerrilla exhibition in the street during a festival in the town where we live. This exhibition, of course, we took pictures of this exhibition and put it on Facebook. Then a guy from Serbia called us and asked, couldn't you send the grannies to Serbia? We did. And he arranged an exhibition in a park in Serbia. He made a YouTube clip and sent it back to us. Then a guy from Spain called, and then a guy from, it's always guys, unfortunately, in Germany called us. So this granny exhibition was on tour. No money, it just cost the mail, the stamp. It was very, very, very simple, and it was done by the audience. This year, we applied for funding, and we had the International Granny Day exhibition in a big art hall in Malmö, where we live. We get some funding from the city council to cover the cost for this exhibition. We also arranged a cake funding. We asked 29 bakeries to donate cakes and bread. And then we had two famous people, local famous, who sold these cakes and raised some money that we gave away for kids that should have help with homeworks in school. It's a symbol, and during this process I have learned how important symbols are, because it was not so many that helped Hannah with the script. It wasn't so many that was on the exhibition in Serbia, but because we covered and shared it on internet, it could be used for a lot of people. It reached a larger audience. So, then we came to the very, very, very exciting moment to involve money in this process. We decided to do this in May this year, and we decided to do it on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is, as they told you before, is an American platform, and we decided to use that one because it's the biggest one, and we wanted to keep our international audience. So we decided to go for a goal of 50,000 American US dollars in 30 days. And yeah, I come back to why we had this goal. We succeeded, but it was a long and heavy way to go there. Plus and minus, we said that it's an international network, we can raise more money. That was the two main reasons why we used Kickstarter. The trouble to use Kickstarter was that you have to reach the goal. If not, you get nada. And you have to have an American bank account. In our case, we solved that by accident, maybe. I have helped a young female American producer that was studying at the university in my town. And as a fortune for us, she moved back to the States. So I asked her, couldn't you start a company and help us with this? And she did. You have to have someone you trust. You have to have someone that you trust. That's the most important. And we solved that quite easy. But if you want to use Kickstarter, that could be the biggest problem. Yeah. To make a Kickstarter campaign, this was the way we prepared ourselves. You had to make a video. You know, have all of you seen crowdfunding sites? You have some kind of experience, so it's not completely new for you. We collected mailing lists. We took everyone we know by email and by Facebook. So we prepared ourselves to, this is those who we are going to contact when we start this. Perks. If you ask for money, you have to give something back. And you can watch it on Facebook, but or on Kickstarter, what kind of perks we had. But it was all from to download the film when it's ready. And the most funny thing that was, we work also with claymation in the film. And the best perk, I think, if you donated $1,000, you could get your own face on a doll in a scene in the film. I think that was a wonderful perk. We made a planning day by day, and we also planned for doing updates. Because when people donate, you will be in touch with them, so you should make updates to tell them how it's going on. And we also decided what was our target audience. Just to give you some kind, when it comes to the video, this was the idea we had. We made the first video, and we changed it 2 times during this month. I will not go deeper to that. The first target audience we decided to have was the political, those who are engaged in sustainability and transmedia. And what I mean with sustainability in this case is to have a broader value perspective, not only social, not only cultural, not only economical. People that are interested in to have all these values at the same time in their experiences. And it was also, of course, all those who are downloading, either if they dare to tell us or not. But there is a lot of people out there who are into this, like it or not. But it's a huge audience. That's what we learned from our first experiences with nasty old people. We were interested to get back to those people. Yeah. And of course, story-wise, everyone with a granny. We had a strategy. At the same time we collected money, we also collected stories. We didn't only go for money, we also asked people for their own granny stories because we wanted to broaden up the perspective. That you could be a part of the creation also as an artist. This is how people find us. I think this month was the worst month in my life. I have never worked so hard. I have never dealt with so much shame and so much guilt inside myself. It was awful and it was wonderful. The first days, I think the first week, the first 10 days, we managed to reach $1,000 per day. And we should go for $50,000, and we had 30 days. So you could see it was good, but it wasn't good enough. But we had a very strong energy. We were sitting the whole days. I wrote everyone I know and asked them for help. And when I was walking this morning, I was thinking, maybe that was the problem, because you can ask people for help, but there is a limit where you can't anymore. We really start to feel bad. Because you want to do it by yourself. But we asked and asked and asked. And it was mainly me and the director. We have a huge team, so of course they helped us. But it was me and the director who was dedicated. And I think that was necessary. What I have learned from a crowdfunding campaign, you can't do a video and put it on the internet and sit on your ass and wait. No, it's hard work. And it went on good. The numbers you see here is the numbers from when we have succeeded. So this tells us that most of the people we reached was through Facebook. Facebook was amazing, really amazing. The Pirate Bay, I will tell you the end of that story later. Mail wasn't that useful. Kickstarter 10% is people that we brought to Kickstarter. People that found Kickstarter was first-time Kickstarters because of us. And the 1% Kickstarter was people who found us on Kickstarter because they were Kickstarter people. So that also tells us a story. You can't put your things up on a crowdfunding site and wait for people to find you. You have to find them, bring them there, and do it. And press, that's PR, media, that was very funny. We managed to have both international and Swedish press. We were on television, very good culture program. We were in big newspapers. Didn't make shit. So interesting, really. The old media was worth nothing. Blogs and so on, worth everything. Very good. So I think, yeah, that was that numbers. Questions? No?
I have a question. How do you know that press made nothing?
Of course, when I say this, do I know it? That's how because there were no changes in the campaign. I will show you how the campaign went on this picture, because I will tell you about the weeks, so that's why I know it. So, It all started very good. $1,000 a day, very good energy. Oh, felt good. Then we had the press started, and that also made us feel good because we had the attention. But the money started to go down. It went down to maybe $500 a day. It was done in one day, maybe it was $100 a day. It was very, very, very low activity. And we started to get nervous. Hannah, the director, she went to Barcelona for a Creative Commons festival that, by the way, started because they were inspired by nasty old people. So there is a Creative Commons license festival in Barcelona that is free to copy. She was in Barcelona and she was really depressed. And I started to get a little bit depressed myself. She came home and I went to Cannes. I don't know, have you been to Cannes Film Festival? Yeah, it's very fancy. And I went down with flyers. People don't have flyers in Cannes. I felt really stupid, but I had to. I really had to. Flyers, donate. It was really, that's not what you're doing in Cannes. In Cannes you go and have cocktails. You don't give people flyers. But I had to. And in Cannes I started to get really depressed myself. At that time we had 10 days left and we had raised $20,000. So we had 10 days to find $30,000 and we didn't have a clue how to do it, really. So I called the director and she told me, I give up. I live on the countryside. I moved to your house and I will stay there for 8 years. I will not go out. I will never be in film business anymore. I will quit. And actually, I had the same feelings. Maybe I can do something else. I can find another job. It was really, I gave up. I had 3 options. Give up, cheat. That was a funny thing. I didn't know that when we started. And someone told me that you Polish people are really good for cheating. Are you? No, I don't know. But you can cheat when you do a Kickstarter campaign. You can have an account with no money on it, and you can put them in yourself. Not yourself, maybe, but a friend of you, and then don't pay them. So it's possible. But at the same time, we had promised to shoot the first 20 minutes of our film for this money. And I know that sometimes I'm doing things like this. And to stand here and tell you that we succeeded, and I know that I'm lying, I said that wasn't an option. So the cheat option was not an option. And then was the option to success. So I decided in Cannes, very depressed, walking alone, feel sorry for myself, so I give up. I came home, and the morning I came home, a friend of mine called. She's a businesswoman, absolutely not in film business. So I told her, I have these 3 options, and I decided to give up. And then she said, with a very naughty voice, but I have donated $10. That means my dollars isn't worth anything. So what the fuck? I forgot all these people who have donated. I was only thinking about those who haven't. So I made a decision. And believe me or not, I know that my inner decision was the thing that made a change. And I'm not a special person, but I know it. So I made a decision. We have to manage. So I called the director. She was, the curtains, dark, small, poor apartment, directors, no money. I called her and said, I'll come and pick you up. We have to go down to the university. We have to ask for help one more time. Just as we did with nasty old people. And she was, I can't do, she smoked all the time and coffee. And I haven't eaten, very thin, because she hadn't eaten for a long time. So I picked her up. That was very good, actually, when it comes to the next part of this story. So I picked her up. We went down to the university, and then we started to talk with the researchers. And I really, I'm so happy that we are collaborating with researchers, because their only interest is development. They are not interested in being famous and collecting prizes in Cannes. They are not interested in money. They are not interested in being part of communities. They are researchers. It's very, very good to collaborate with researchers. And when we were sitting there, we were saying, the reason why we choose the amount $50,000 was one of the guys from the Pirate Bay, because we asked him when we were preparing for the Kickstarter campaign, how much should we go for? And he said $100,000. And we had been thinking of 30. So 50 was the choice in between. But it was his fault that we chose 50. So I was thinking he had to help us, because he was the one who told us. So I called him and said, hey ho, it's your fault. We can't manage, you have to help us. Please, put us on the front page again. And then he said, oh, yeah, but you are so unsexy, I'm sorry. I love your project, it's very good with all these grannies, but honestly, it doesn't rock and roll, it's boring. And not the story, but you know, the approach is boring. Yeah, but help us. I know, but help us. Okay, so we met him at the restaurant. And before that, when we ended up with the researcher, we had two strategies. We will go for Pirate Bay one more time. Is it? Okay. One more time, and I will write all the rich people I know. So what we did was that we had a front page on the Pirate Bay with this message. And I don't have time to explain why. But it was a picture of the director. Please help me so I don't have to sell my kidney. Give me some money. When we had, at this moment, I wrote 5 very, very rich people that I know or have friends that know. At this moment, I had a phone call from a female billionaire. I don't know her, but she called me and said, I love your project. I will help you. If you don't manage to get the money, I will be there in the end. I don't think I have cried that much since I've been a grown-up. It was really a relief. She didn't have to. She donated $100 because we managed to get it from the audience. This is the funding process. And I go very fast because I want to show you this one. Among the campaign, we had between 7,000 and 8,000 people who were touched by the project in some way on Facebook. When we succeeded, we had reached 25,000 people on Facebook. So the success really expanded our audience. Yeah? Okay. I will take this slide then. So questions or no questions?
I think what we'll do, we'll take the questions to the networking zone during the
Okay.
lunchtime. if
Yeah.
you don't mind,
Yeah.
please. It's been like 45 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
If you can round it up.
I don't know. I think I can stop here. You want more? Round it up. No, okay. I just give you a very, very quick explanation about this picture. It's not.
In 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah, it is that if you have one active person, you know that you have 99 person behind this person on the internet. That's how we count audience when we have activities. It's not my numbers, it's numbers they use in the transmedia world. So every one of these 928 backers, each of them have 99 persons behind them. Okay, thanks a lot.